heretics, and welcome to. I can't believe it's a whole fucking year since the last time we were at Bloodstock. We're all here this gloriously sunny evening, and we've got extra grumpy horsemen because with all the demand after the Bloodstock episode, we had to have Uncle Mike back because people just won't stop emailing. When's Mike coming back? When's Mike coming back? So we've had to pander to the demand.
Look, sorry about that. My email button just got stuck on send.
I was going to say, your nose is growing a bit, Steve.
Welcome back, Uncle Mike.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Tregenza, sir.
That's better. We like that. Everybody all right? Everybody a bit hot and sweaty and minging and all of that?
Oh, I put extra effort in to get minging.
bit of talcum powder around the special areas. And
one of those,
just to stop the chafing. But other than that, it's Ming all the way. Ming the merciless.
Trouble is, it just turns into paste after a while.
Yeah. Not paste.
I mean, I've just had a ready meal lasagna, so that's probably going to be replaced up shortly.
Ming paste.
Well,
days like this are days I'm really glad I have a beard and a really hairy chest.
Well, yeah, I'm sure
yeah. So,
well, amongst all this, sweaty testicular chat, we probably should talk a little bit about Bloodstock this year because not all of us are going. Padre obviously not because it's a long old commute from Saudi Arabia. I'm not going. I'm not entirely sure why I'm not going, but there are
It's a long old commute from Colchester, wherever the fuck it is you live. So
I'm in Chelmsford. How dare you?
They both start with C.
How very
for the cunts. So I don't know.
All right, is it okay? Mike, just speak when spoken to. Okay, just calm down.
Sorry, Padre, sir.
That's better. But yeah, so I'm not going, but we, these three are, so it only felt right that we should at least make an effort. So
I'm going to go twice at the same time just to make up for the fact that you're not there.
See, that's the kind of commitment that I expect.
It's no trouble. It's a pleasure.
It makes all the difference. I wish the rest of you would make the same kind of commitment. It's poor, really.
Just like when they shut the festival the day after, just refuse to leave and go, no, this is part 2.
Well, if you're going to stay, at least take down some fencing.
I'm going to drink enough for 2 people, if that counts.
That helps.
See, everyone's making an effort in their own way, and I think it's beautiful.
That's a good one. So yeah, I'll be there in spirit. Let's put it that way. I'll do my best to drink myself stupid for 3 days while I'm at home and going to work, and we'll see what happens. Don't drink and drive, kids. Anyway, let's talk about the lineup. I suppose may as well start with that because that's kind of the main reason people go to these fucking festivals.
Thought we were going to talk about last year's festival first.
Well, I kind of intertwine that and compare, last year's lineup, this year's lineup, and last year's.
Okay.
But yes,
I don't remember last year, but we can try.
Sorry, before we start, look, since you're not going, Tregenza, what you need to do is hire a porta cabin, put it in your back garden, and then get one of those really dodgy burger vans and get that parked up in your back garden and just go out there with a stereo. Get the shits, run to the porta cabin.
No. We don't have dodgy burger vans at Bloodstock.
No.
Yeah, only download.
No, you just have overpriced hipster food instead.
Yeah, but at least with the overpriced hipster food, you're getting half decent food. Apart from the chicken last year, we did talk about that. The chicken was dreadful. They had on the last day. I think it had been in the fryer since Thursday, and it wasn't.
Well, at least it was cooked, unlike the chicken at download.
It was most definitely cooked. Yeah, it was cooked, beyond the realm. But yeah, the rest of the food was great. So yeah, the lineup.
Yeah. I think they actually cooked that chicken 2 Bloodstocks prior, and it's just been sitting under a heat lamp for that long.
Yeah, and on a daily basis covered it in salt.
Yeah, I mean, fuck me, it was terrible. Absolutely fucking awful.
Even just talking about it is making me feel a little bit.
I think
the hatred is rising.
I think I had a pie that day.
You chose well.
Chicken's not really a metal. Chicken's not a metal festival food. Like chickens are there to be thrown around and sacrificed to a higher power, not necessarily eaten. So it's going to be like red meat, pig's head, stuff like that.
What about those black chickens? The heavy metal chickens.
Black metal chickens.
Well, yeah, the black metal chickens. They've got black meat and they're all black feathered and everything's black about them.
Where's this going?
Norway, probably.
Yeah, they've genetically engineered their chickens to be more metal than any other chicken around the world.
I wouldn't be fucking surprised.
No, we did. There was a rotisserie roast, chicken and spuds and gravy and stuffing. So
Yes,
What
there
does it
was. Now that was good. That was good.
Yeah,
So let me just specify that my comment about the terrible chicken was not in any way a reference to that rotisserie chicken,
Oh
which
no,
was
that was quality.
absolutely fucking delicious. I'll be going in for that again. This was at the other end of the field. Fried chicken, no siree, matey Bob.
What do the metal chickens sound like?
Oh, here we go.
Oh, and everyone goes silent.
I thought there was going to be a punchline to that.
How about clutch?
Oh dear.
Yeah, that was better actually.
If
I wasn't
anyone-
actually doing a dad joke. I just wanted to do a metal chicken
anyone's still
impression.
listening to this, I'm
They
like,
say
A
cockadoodle
Norwegian.
how long have you been drinking? This is why you were late getting here, wasn't it?
No, look, this. I'll have you know, I'm on the 0.3% tonight.
Oh, are
That
you?
was that cockadoodle dio, mate. That was a sober mind came up with that.
The problem is that 0.3%, you've drank 700 cans of it. Should we try and talk about
I'm
the
just
band?
about getting a buzz off it.
Yes, let's talk about
Talk
the
about the
birds.
band. The three headliners compared to last year.
Megadeth.
Headlined. We had
Megadeth,
Megadeth.
Meshuggah.
We had Killswitch Engage last
And
year,
Sugar.
and Meshuggah.
And this year you've got the wonderful Opeth, who today have released a new single, which I'm assuming everybody loves because it's Opeth. And Architects is the kind of one for the youth type thing. And then perennial Bloodstock band Amon Amarth. I think they've played 30 times in 20 years. So
Arr.
I've never seen that. That would be fun. So
look, they're
Yeah,
fun.
we shall see. I think it's the first time in since I've gone to Bloodstock that I've got kind of no expectations around the headliners. There's no one there that I'm particularly I mean, let me phrase this the right way. It's not that I don't want to watch any of them, but there's no one there that I'm particularly fussed about. So I kind of like, I'm going in, let's see what they got to offer. Yeah, time will tell. Opeth are the only band of the three headlines I've seen before. So let's see. I'm more excited by the bands further down the bill, but we'll get to those.
I mean, one thing you'll get from all three headliners is in different ways. You'll get a show. I mean, I've only ever seen Architects, and me and Ant went to catch them a little show in Brighton, but I think they put on quite a fairly, big old production and whatnot. So
Don't think you get a show from Opeth.
no, that's more like it's a connoisseur's couple of hours, and
Yeah, but they don't really put on a show that like I kind of make a point of not putting on a show. He's like, our music speaks itself, and then they play a song and then he talks a little bit and they play another song. And it's like listening to a mixtape sometimes. I mean, it's a really good mixtape, very well played mixtape with some lasers. Last time we saw Arc Tangent, and it was great, but like it's not exciting. I'm not like, oh my god.
I think that's the thing. Yeah, that Arc Tangent set was the only time I've seen them, and I mean, we were kind of in the chat rooms today, just passing some comments around, and I think one thing we all agreed on is they can be one of those bands where if you see them one night, you'll get quite a dry quite a dry performance, but when they hit the right gear, so I'm led to believe, they are incredible. So I'm just hoping we get the latter and not the former, and they hit their stride and give us something pretty special.
Either way, it'd be a good set, but I prefer.
You know they're going to be good, but they are one of those bands. If you're not a fan, it'd be like me going watching Meshuggah last year. I was bored off my tits. None of it made any sense. So if you're not into Opeth, it'll probably be the same. But there's always plenty of other entertainment.
Yeah.
Does Meshuggah sing in another language then?
I don't fucking know. It's just noise to me. Not a clue.
Opeth are doing a choose the set, aren't they, as well? How do people
make any choices?
I haven't. But,
I didn't even know they were doing that until now.
How do people feel about that? I mean, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. Do we trust the masses? Do we trust the people?
I mean, it means we'll probably get bugger all from the last 15 years. So
that's fine.
That could be a shout. I mean, I'm led to believe, if you're a fan of Opeth, it's the early stuff that really captured people. So I'd imagine that's the stuff that people are going to vote for because they don't play it as often.
Possibly, but it's interesting because obviously you don't want to go out and just play the entirety of Ghost Reveries and Blackwater Park. I mean, as great as they are, if they're just the top of the list, that's what you're getting. So hopefully they take four 4 max per album or something. Well, say with Opeth, it'd be 3 max per album, really.
When I saw them at Hammersmith, was it last year? Last year before? I don't know. Whenever it was, they were doing. It was one song from each of their albums, and that worked quite well. So you did get a full kind of range. So I reckon they'll probably structure the set list around that. They will pick people's votes from all eras, I reckon, because who knows? You've got trust in the voting system, haven't you? Who knows who's counting it? It could be a load of corrupt Russians for all we know. But just all big fans of the Drapery Falls, so that gets
There you go. God, the rumors start here. The conspiracy theories start here.
No. So,
who knows?
Well, they're not a big fan of curtainy stuff falling down. So,
very good. But they won't get a full. I mean, because Opeth, they're a 2-hour band, aren't they? They're not going to get 2 hours of Bloodstock, are they? It's going to be 90 minutes. So you're talking what, 10 songs?
Yeah, because it's Igor afterwards, so they're not even going to get to overrun, and Igor's going to be rammer-jammed, I reckon.
Yeah,
they're a weird band. I can't quite decide whether I like them or not. I haven't really given them enough time yet for any of it to really make any sense.
I think if
how do you pronounce it? Is it Igor or Igor?
Well, yeah, you've got to enunciate.
Well, that's how Amon Amarth pronounce it.
Amon Amarth.
Yeah, they Igor.
Is that how you pronounce Amon Amarth? Amon Amarth.
Amon Amarth.
I'm going to put the emphasis on the wrong syllables.
I'm actually not here today. This is the AI version of myself, so there's a few glitches occurring.
That's why we got that cracking joke at the beginning about Cockatiddle Dio.
Yeah, that one slipped through. That moment was brilliant. I would never come out with something like that. Igor, listen, if Igor can pull off the madness that they put on record, I think it's one guy. Like, it is one guy. I interviewed him actually years ago for a fanzine, and at the time I can't remember what album had come out. This would have been about 6 years ago, no, 6 or 7 years ago, and the album's absolutely fucking nuts. And if they can pull that off live, which I'm sure they do, that's going to be worth a watch. It's kind of like Mr. Bungle on crack, really. That's
a pretty good way of...
Is that possible?
That's, well, look, it's close.
They're one of those bands, I think, that, like you say, it's either going to be absolutely rammed or there'll be hardly anyone in there. It will be one extreme or the other.
No, it'll be rammed, man. I reckon it'll be rammed.
Yeah, interesting. Did you see them at Arctangent the year you went? Were they playing? They've been on the lineup a couple of times.
I've never seen them before.
No, me neither.
No, but it's a weird slot, that after the headlining the Sophie slot, because I've seen some fucking cracking sets doing that, but it's got to be the right vibe. Like, remember 2 years ago, Night Flight Orchestra, the closing set of the weekend, couldn't have been
absolutely incredible.
And they're on the main stage.
When are they playing this weekend?
Sunday afternoon on the main stage, aren't they?
Yeah.
Is it?
That'd be an interesting one, actually, because that year when they headlined, they were the last band of the festival. There's something about that band, it's such a celebratory set.
Yeah.
It really worked as like the last set of the festival. And then last year was it Biohazard closed? Yeah. Was it that? Were they the same? Yeah. And it just didn't have the same, for me anyway, personally, it didn't have the same sense of kind of jubilation and celebration that Night Flight Orchestra did the year before. It kind of ended on a bit of an aggressive note. So Night Flight are great for that. So it'd be interesting to see how they go on an afternoon set. And as I've said that out loud, I've thought Royal Republic have popped into my head.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's going to be a similar sort of vibe to that.
I'll be honest, I haven't listened to them yet, and I'm tempted to actually go in blind at this point.
Night Flight?
Yeah.
Oh, really? What, you've not listened to them at all?
At all, no.
Wow. They've been around quite a while now. I'm quite surprised at that.
I don't know.
Well, they are a Raw Republic kind of band, though, right? So
okay. I suppose what's put me off is the name sounds like I don't know. I get like Liquid Tension Experiment vibes, like Dream Theater side project vibes from the name.
No, it's nothing like that. I mean,
the
first album was pure AOR, and as their career gone on, they've sort of gone a bit more 80s. Well, they've gone very 80s in that sense, but it's party music. Like
I think, and I think they'd be right up your street. I mean,
good. I like that. Yeah.
I mean, 100%.
Yeah, songs like White Jeans and things like that, just pure 80s pop rock kind of, it's great.
White jeans, white t-shirt, dressed up like a line of cocaine.
Basically, there you go. And it's Speed's get up on stage as well, isn't it? With the with the beret, the white jacket, the cape, and all that lot. It's a great.
And the bank of backing vocalists, kind of dressed as air hostess, which they look sharp, they sound great, and it's such an upbeat. Anyway, but that's years ago. So let's. Oh no, they're playing this year. God, what am I talking about? Yeah, forgot myself. Yeah, so they'll be good. I'm just interested to see how they go over on an afternoon set, and will we get a repeat of the huge conga that kind of spontaneously appeared at the end of their set?
The thing they do, isn't it? There's someone dressed as an as a pilot, as a captain, and that person is then nominated to lead the conga. I think that's the whole kind of, if you can pull it off outside where there's going to be circa 10,000 people there, that'd be quite amusing.
That'd be interesting, because there's a lot of people. The festival season this year, last year, people seem to be going with a lot of firsts, or biggest. We've had the biggest ever Wall of Death earlier this year, and kind of all these other. And I think Bloodstock themselves are trying to go for the biggest row during a aim on, aim off. So will we get the biggest festival conga?
The biggest festival conga led by an airline pilot.
I mean, that sounds like Guinness Book of Records thing. We should phone that whoever.
I'd like to think, Tregenza, that you actually are coming this year, and you're gonna leap out dressed as a pilot and lead the conga just through the afternoon. It'd be such a great way. Imagine if that was the way everybody exited the festival. It's just like this conga just wove around and then just snaked out the door, and that's it. Everyone went home. Leaving all their litter up on the way as you.
There'll be do you reckon there'll be the naked conga from Midgard through the other camps again?
What goes on in that field is beyond beyond what anybody should ever have to witness. But it's where you.
Are there any marriages this year? Have you seen any? Are there anybody announced they're getting married this year?
Not yet, but
probably in Midgard. Yeah, but they're also doing like official bin jousting this year as well, aren't they?
Yep, and the bins have even got sponsors on them.
Oh, now how do we feel? How do we feel about bin jousting being kind of like legitimized? And does it have the same appeal now that it's kind of got the thumbs up?
It had no appeal in the first place, so it makes no difference to me.
I think
it's just one of those things that the lunatics in Midgard do. I'm just quite happy sitting down drinking my hobgoblin and eating my hobnobs.
I don't know. You bring legitimacy and whatnot in. You got rules, rules just suck with stuff like this.
I don't think there's going to be any rules. I think it's just a bin with.
I don't think the sponsors were like that. I think they want a little bit of decorum.
Fucking absolute carnage.
You might find a splinter group kind of pops up in Valhalla and says, "No, we're having none of this," and the carnage just moves to the next field along.
Yeah. It's very possibly what will happen if they do try and control it too much. Everyone's going, "No, this isn't bin jousting. Bin jousting is supposed to be dangerous and stupid. We're going to Valhalla. Yeah. This time we're going to set fire to the bins before we joust them." You see what you've done, Bloodstock? You see what you've done?
See, they have to up the ante. Then it's going to be flaming bin jousting.
Oh
yeah.
Now you're talking.
Flaming, and then next year, flaming naked bin jousting.
Well, with some form of lubricant, some kind of oil, or maybe some jelly or something like that. Do you want to throw that in the mix?
Mr. Tregenza, sir, this is not the podcast for that kind of conversation.
I don't know. I have a feeling there might be a few temporary rules this year about behaviour, the way things are going elsewhere in the country. So nothing getting burned, please. Nothing too aggravating. Come on.
Look, Bloodstock's all about love in it. So back to headline then.
Yes, I mean,
aim on, aim off. Then, so that's going to be a whole load of fucking Viking shit and fire and.
I spent a couple of days listening to Monomarth, and it all kind of bled into one big long song. I tried really hard. I was like, I'm going to listen to the hits. I'm going to find some deep cuts. And I really struggle to get excited about it. So I mean, I'm going to go and see them. I'm keen to see them, but it's not like Bean was saying earlier. I'm not like super excited about it. I am super excited to see like the biggest row in festival history, and that'd be fun. But it's an early night then, isn't it? I can have some beans on toast when I get back.
I think that's going to be key though. The show, I think, if anything, regardless, I mean, I'm not that familiar with their material, but I think regardless, they're going to put on some. I think it's going to be like watching a pantomime, basically, but in quite. If you get in the spirit of it, I think there's going to be a lot of ridiculous sets and costumes and set pieces and longboats and dragons and fuck knows what else, But
there'll
just
be
going
more
to
fire than there
fire.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, it's always fun, isn't it, when there's a lot of pyro? So as long as they bring the pyro, I think I'm going to get in the spirit of it. I think actually of the three headliners, they're the ones I'm looking forward to the most. Even though I'm not that familiar with the material, but I think that's going to be the funnest set.
They're the right one of the three to close the festival, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But what about? Should we talk about Thursday? Because obviously none of the main headliners are happening on the Thursday, But we had that kind of the little mini event on the Sophie stage.
Tail Gunner.
And there's some some cracking bands playing that night.
Yep.
Now last year we had Frozen Soul were kind of the ones that I really wanted to see in that spot. But this year we've got Hell Ripper and we've got Tail Gunner, and they're two bands that have their profile has really risen over the last, since the last festival. I think a lot of people are going to be in that tent to see both of those bands.
Yeah, you've got a captive audience on the Thursday, haven't you? Everybody's around, they're going to go.
Yeah.
And for those two bands,
I predicted Tail Gunner would be at Bloodstock this year. Do you remember last year I posted on the the Bloodstock page?
Yeah.
And I see that people listen to Padre.
I think it's important for Bloodstock to book bands like this because Tail Gunner, like you said, their profile is just going through the roof. And while it is growing in the UK, it's really growing on continental Europe. So for both those two bands,
I don't care about Tail Gunner's profile. That's a band that deserves to be at that festival, regardless of their profile. You need a band like that at Bloodstock, and they're representing.
Of course you do, but that kind
so fair play to them. But yeah, they're getting. It's a cliche, but they're getting big in Japan now. I mean, fair play to them.
They're getting big everywhere, but because the whole traditional metal thing is not that popular in the UK, bands like that, it's a really important festival for them, and it's for Hell Ripper as well because they're going to introduce themselves. They've done a massive festival run over the last few weeks. This is the biggest show they'll have ever played in the UK, and it's a big deal for them. So those two bands, big weekend. No pressure.
But I can see them following in the footsteps of a band like Green Lung, who are now over on the main stage, But they started Bloodstock on the Sophie stage. Absolutely fucking killed it.
Earn as well.
Yeah, another one.
They're starting to say, didn't they?
Yeah.
I remember seeing them right up close. Boiled my face off. Of course, there's also Evergrey on the Thursday.
Yeah.
Swedish prog. So
I like Evergrey. I think they're cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't that taken with the newest album. But I like what they've done in the past, and I will go back and have a listen to it. But I think they'll be good. Yeah,
they're on pretty early. I'm hoping we'll have been set up and sufficiently alcoholic lubricated to get ourselves in there for some of this stuff.
It's a bit odd. I suppose you can kind of put them in a similar vein to Opeth, aren't you? It's going to be a select kind of people who'll be into that. They are an odd band, Evergrey. I'm the same as you've been. There's some stuff I really like. Some stuff has just dropped a million miles away. So.
They're one of those sort of ethereal bands that's you got to be in the right mood for them. I think live and even on record.
Yeah. I think recently they've dialed in a bit more of a pop productions, and they've dialed up the melody a little bit, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But I found that quite jarring when I checked in with the new album. But I think live, I would anticipate that's going to go over really well. It's going to be a mixture of material, and I think it's probably going to have a little bit more crunch to it and a little bit more edge.
Yeah, that's not a bad little sort of a bad little run that for a Thursday evening to warm you up, isn't it? But
so the South Asylum as well. They remind me a little bit of Avenged Sevenfold. And they sorry.
Don't put everyone off by saying that.
I quite like A7X. A couple earlier was pretty good. Well, they supported Wasp Wednesday 13. It's that kind of like makeup and very finely cut beard business going on.
Horror punk emo kind of party-ish. Okay, I'll be up for that. Like I say, I like the older A7X stuff. So I'm down with that. As long as I don't fall ill this year, like last year, I got to Frozen Soul and then had a funny turn.
Oh yes.
Yeah, try
yeah, so I missed Frozen Soul, but then I had a big old bowl of like loaded chips and stuff. So that's great.
Good.
That was good.
Good.
It cures all illnesses.
It does.
I think it was just a hot day, you know, just on the go. Couple of beers just caught up with me, so I shall be a little bit more careful this year. To be honest, I blame Tregenza. I think it's being in his presence for the whole day, being in the car with him. Whereas I'm in good company this year on the journey.
Yeah, you're much better off. You're much better off. So Friday, let's have a quick run through because you've got working upwards. You've got Desert Storm. You know, being you lot have played with them before, haven't you? Familiar with them? Hard-working British band. Nervosa's a big one. I'm disappointed I'm not there to see them because they're very cool.
Yeah.
Green, this is, again, like Hellripper and Tailgunner, this is a big one for Green Lung, and just announced these two, you know, pretty big UK shows, Manchester and London next year. But main stage at Bloodstock, they're a future headliner for this festival, so this is a moment for them.
Definitely, this will be a big one.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about seeing Green Lung. I'm also very excited about seeing Eternal Champion.
I'm curious because I haven't clicked with them, but I think live might push me over. I want them to push me.
They're one of the ones I'm really, really, really looking forward to. I just think that's going to be immense.
They might be on at the same. They might be on at a very similar time to Clutch, though. If like there's already a Clash Finder. I think they're using like last year's timing, and there is a clash. And I love Clutch. I don't know if I could miss a Clutch.
I mean, is there like an independent Clash Finder? Because I was talking to Tregenza about this and I haven't been able to find one, and I want to start deciding what's going on.
Clashfinder.com.
Oh, okay.
Have you never used Clashfinder.com?
No, I just thought it was on the app. That's what they're saying.
No. So Clashfinder.com, it's like community generated, and there's always like 2 or 3 for each festival. Use the most recently updated one, and they tend to, until the stage times are posted, they'll use last year's stage times because they're reasonably similar.
I was going to say they must have a template, a general template that you know.
Well, it's like starts at X time, bands, you know, tier 3 bands are on for this time, tier 2 bands are on for this time, 30-minute changeover, whatever, right? You can kind of fill in the gaps between it, but it gives you a reasonable overview until the actual stage times come out.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Thank you very much. Right. I'll answer the.
There you go. The planning begins.
Yeah.
We've actually got a really strong little section over on the main stage though on that first day with Green Lung, but then right next to them you've got Grand Magus as well. And that's some big riffs. It just in that little section of the afternoon. That's going to sound huge. Both those bands, one after the other, huge doom sounds. And then we go into Enslaved and Rotting Christ after that. You know, epic black metal. I mean, that's just going to be that. You know, I'm going to be centered around that stage for those 4 bands.
Yeah. I've been listening to quite a bit of Hatebreed recently, only because I put together a Bloodstock playlist, and for some reason Tyler keeps playing Hatebreed like more than anybody else. And at first I was like, yeah, I'll get into this, but now this is a bit 90s. I'm not digging this so much, so I'll check out a little bit of it. But of all the bands on that stage, I think like Hatebreed is the only one that I would stomach missing. Like everything else is fantastic on Friday.
The thing about Hatebreed is they are 100% a band that live, if you watch them live, I'd be shocked if you don't get into it. Back when they first played Bloodstock, which I think was 08, 09, something like that. And all the heavy metal purists were all like, you can't have hardcore at Bloodstock, that doesn't work, all that kind of shit. When they played, they absolutely flattened the place, completely fucking flattened it. And that's why they keep having them back. I think this is their 4th time.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's hardcore, but it's metallic hardcore.
It's metallic hardcore, yeah. It's just massive fist in the air metal anthems, really. So
yeah, that's the sense I get from listening to them, actually, that it's going to be a bit like that.
And Jamie Jasper,
which is not a bad thing.
No, it's not. They are what they are. Yeah, you know, this isn't the sugar. This is straight down the line, simple. You know, but they are fucking good at what they do. So I would, if I was there, I'd have been well up for that. I haven't seen him for a while, and I think that'll be a bit of a triumphant set, that one. 30 years, 30th anniversary as well. So,
wow,
Jesus.
Which I think the only Hatebreed album I have ever owned, or the only one I'm really familiar with, is it Perseverance? Is that kind of got the flaming logo on the front? And I don't know much outside of that album. It used to be it was a bit of a cliche, but it was my gym album, so I'd stick it on, if I was sweating it out at the gym, basically, a long time ago when I used to go a bit more regularly.
I mean, the debut, whose name I will not repeat because Padre dislikes that title. But yeah, that was 30 minutes.
Satisfaction is the death of desire. Yeah.
There you go. I'll let you have that one. Yeah, 30 minutes of just pummeling, fucking brutal hardcore. I remember when me and Wolf went to see the first Slipknot gig in London Astoria, and they just put that album on rotation before and after the support band.
Wow.
The thing is, everyone was bloody sick of it by the end, but it was just like, yeah, it's just got that kind of sort of vibe. It got everyone properly pissed off and psyched. So
good.
Yeah.
Well, I really liked the Jamie
I've been listening
solo
to
album. So I'm keen to just kind of fill in the gaps between that early stuff that I'm more familiar with and everything that's happened in between. So yeah,
I've been listening to Under the Knife the last few days, and that's just an absolutely amazing album. I've seen Hatebreed are a band that have popped up on like festivals that I've been to, and I've seen them like at a small event, like the Fleece and the Firkin in Bristol years ago. And I really like them, but I've kind of like forgot about them the last 10 years, and I went back and started listening to their stuff again. I don't see how any metal purist would have an issue with them playing at Bloodstock. It's just they're a good band. They're more than good.
This is 15 years.
Yeah, I know, but even back in the day, like this is a band with a serious pedigree.
Yeah,
and who also have a lot of kudos within the metal community. How many times have you seen Hatebreed on a build with Slayer and Sepultura?
Yeah.
I mean, there was the infamous gig at the Astoria in '99 with Sepultura, Slayer, and Hatebreed. The pit from that gig is the stuff of legends. So whoever, if anyone's got a problem with them there or had a problem with them in the past, like they want their head read,
Yeah, it's not the case now. It's a different crowd. They'll go down a storm.
It's nice that you've got Hatebreed on the same, and on the same festival bill as Malevolence. I think that's a good double header.
Yeah. Well, I was just about to make that
school
point.
Hardcore
I was kind of going to use
breakout band
as a segue into the Saturday, because you have got Malevolence on there, who obviously went down an absolute storm when we saw them before. I mean, fully embraced by the Bloodstock crowd, and to see them over on the main stage, build higher than Hatebreed as well, which I think is pretty significant, because I would say they're a band that have kind of clearly been influenced by Hatebreed.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, do you know what I mean? And then to see them, on the Saturday, the main festival day, as high up on the bill as they are, just under the headliners, that's pretty significant and it's pretty special. There's a lot of British bands that we've seen, like we've mentioned we've mentioned Green Lung, Malevolence are another one that we've watched them come up through the festival and get higher and higher billings. It's great to see, and I'm looking forward to seeing Malevolence again.
And obviously, being a British band, I think that's the most significant thing, isn't it? That they've been ploughing away at this now for the best part of 15 years, and first time I saw them was in this tiny little club in Cardiff, which wasn't that long ago. It was the first gig after COVID, and to see where they've got to now, that they've just been on this massive US tour with Lamb of God and Mastodon and Kerry King, and they're up there. They're a full-time going concern now. They handle all their own merch. Everything is kind of DIY within the band. They've got like a headquarters that they run everything from. They're like Metallica in that sense.
Yeah.
So absolute fair play to them. They deserve all the success they're getting.
If we can go back to Friday, actually, just because there's a few. Do we want to cover these small bands, or do we want to do main stage first?
Yeah, we'll skim across the main stage for a minute, because there are some quite sort of key sets. I mean, you've got So, like I said, Nervosa on Friday, and then you've got Crypta on the Saturday.
Yeah.
And certainly, I know you're a big fan of the last Crypta album.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I'm really looking forward to that. It's I liked it from the start. Very accessible for death metal album, but it's one of those that also takes a while to really get in. It's a very insidious album, gets your claws in, quite nasty and groovy, and there's some Morbid Angel there, but almost like Morbid Angel in the shadows kind of thing. It's yeah, it's got, but it is. I want to see people turn up for that because I've been knocking about for ages, and
it's that is though. I'm looking at the lineup now. It's the Saturday morning hangover set, isn't it? It's the cobwebs are just about clearing from the Friday night.
1 o'clock.
And they could kick things off in a major way actually for the Saturday.
I think it's a good place to start, to be honest with you. They are fucking brutal, so it works quite well. Forbidden as well, thrash legends.
Yeah.
Now Forbidden, they're a band I like, legendary band that I'm really not familiar with, and just recently actually Uncle Mike sent me some links to some of their stuff, and I was like, holy fuck, this is great.
It's good, a lot of fun.
Yeah, I saw them at Bloodstock a few years ago. Again, back 2009, I think, something like that. And yeah, they were fucking class back then. So,
in fact, they're the only band on Saturday that are on my priority list.
Oh, hello, is that important?
Yeah, they've been given the horns in my spreadsheet. There's a lot of thumbs up bands that I do want to go and see, but they're the ones I'm like can't miss that. Yeah, can't miss that.
That's fair enough. You obviously got Deicide.
I mean, I was chatting about them yesterday. I've seen them live once before and they were great, but that was Camden Underworld, so I don't know how they're going to come across or like in a festival crowd. But what I will say is like their newest album, which I forget the name of it actually, and that's significant because it was quite a forgettable album actually when it came out. Didn't really make much impact. I don't think it got particularly good reviews either. It was sort of like, meh, another Deicide album. Nobody seemed particularly interested, but it keeps coming up on my like random play. I'll be listening to music, and then an album will finish or a song will finish, and it will chuck in something. And I've been caught out a few times thinking, oh, this is cool, man. What the fuck is this? And I've dialed it up, and it's been a new Deicide track every time. So I've kind of given them a bit of a, all right, fair enough, I'll go with that. So I'm going to go and check out Deicide on the main stage and pay my respects, because they are a legendary band as well. As much as Glenn Benton is a grumpy old goat,
but they did release a single on Good Friday.
Yeah, yes. So respect them for that.
Yeah.
But and also they've got some cracking tunes, man, in their back catalogue. I mean, everybody knows those first two albums, but if we can hear some Dead by Dreaming and I don't know, just I'm up for it. I'll be there.
They'll have a big crowd as well. Death metal's on a high at the moment, isn't it? So they will definitely have a big crowd.
So every time I hear about Deicide, I just remember outside the Unholy Alliance tour in 2004. And this is group of girls sat there and they're in their Slipknot t-shirts and stuff. It's after the gig, right? And there's a guy, he's because it was in Cardiff, and there's a guy, he's a bit pissed up, but he's not like roaringly drunk. And he's just like, he's like yelling at them, Deicide, like that. And he starts headbutting a wall. And these girls turn around to him and go, what are you on about? And he's like, Deicide. And they're like, we don't know any of these local bands. And I just looked at them. I was like, dear God. I said, did you just say that when you're outside of fucking Slayer gig? I'm like, for God's sake. I don't think it helped that the guy was headbutting a wall at the same time.
There you go.
That's just Bristol.
Your average Deicide fan. But yeah, more interestingly, you got Unleash the Archers, which is a bit of a curveball, especially on the main stage, because I'm quite surprised that they'd be that high up the billing. This is one for the Voice of Reason.
Yeah, I mean, 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. Hopefully the sun's out. but that could be a big one because their profile in Britain's still quite low. So as you say, it's a bit of a it's a high one, but maybe they've got the crowd for Bloodstock. Maybe that's why. But they're what, 4 albums in, I think, at this point, 4, maybe 5, something like that. I mean, I've only really got into the recent times from the last couple of albums. Yeah. But they got their hook. They're the D&D metal band, aren't they? So they've got that crowd. But it's really just great anthemic, accessible, power-ish heavy metal. Great operatic female vocals, big hooks, and as long as they're on form, then I think I'd like to think they'd pull it off big time. Really, if in that time zone, everyone's going to be out and about for it. So because obviously you've got all the old crusties who just sit at the back in their chairs and just plonk themselves down in front of the main stage for the day. That's kind of they're all going to be there. They're all going to be settled down with some beers and some food, and that's what you want. And I think they can make a few new friends actually if they pick the right. I mean, if they do their cover of Northwest Passage, which I'm sure a few people will know anyway, just as the old folk song, could be onto a winner.
There'll be some Canadians there. Law of Averages is
going to
be, they'll definitely
get everywhere.
Definitely one of the more curious bookings of the weekend, I would say. Unleash the Archers. It'd be interesting to see how that goes. I did like the album as well, particularly the ballad on it. I can't remember what it was called, but
no. And I was just going to say, was it the June roundup where we gave the new album a rave review?
Yeah. It's really good fun. And for us, our age, it's got that proper 80s triumphant anthem thing going on.
Yeah, that's the one that sounds like Roxette, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
At times, yeah.
So
in the best possible way, I hasten to add.
You got your deathcore in there with Whitechapel. Anybody?
They might drive me to the fried chicken stand. We'll see.
Yeah, they're a typical deathcore band. I mean, they might be a bit decent at what they do, but they're a deathcore band.
Yeah, and our feelings on deathcore are well known. Sunday night, funnily enough. Yeah, Whitechapel in a church. That's just clicked on Sunday night. Ern is supporting Whitechapel at Colchester Arts Centre on Sunday night. So while you're
that's another church related. Ern in a church, Whitechapel in a church, Whitechurch in a chapel.
It's all very very church like. But while you lot are enjoying probably Carcass or someone on Sunday, I'll be doing that. Quick one up the Sunday main stage, and this one's a little bit. The Sunday's not quite so. Hasn't got quite. Obviously, you've got Carcass on there. That's a given. Flogging Molly for that kind. There's always that sort of booking on the bill somewhere. Fair enough. We talked about Night Flight. Septic Flesh. I think if you can, I would go and check them out. They're
curious, yeah.
Not a million miles away from Rotting Christ, but a bit more symphonic, I suppose. They actually did and there's a DVD of it as well, a performance with an orchestra, and it's very cool. So check them out. Cultura Tre is probably the more interesting.
They remind me a bit of Sepultura.
Yeah, there are. They've got that old sort of Sept vibe, haven't they?
Yep.
Mm. Yeah. Worth noting that our fella Dave Ellison is going to be playing bass for them on the day because what's his chops? Paolo from Sepultura can't make it. So Dave Ellison.
Yeah, you might lose a little bit of the Latin flair there, but
well, I don't know. Dave Ellison's been putting his Latin flair all over the internet, I hear.
That's to say, is he allowed in the country?
Do you reckon they have like a guitar player, 2 guitar players, a drummer, a singer, and a bass player backstage, and it's like they're on standby. So like so they can avoid the repetition of like Download 2004. So like a band member phones in sick, and they're like, "Right, Dave, you're up, mate. Yeah, sub slots come up. Got to cover." Yeah, and he's like, "How much? 45 quid cash in hand." Yeah.
45 quid in a hand job.
Tax free, mate.
I mean,
yeah.
I pay you 45 quid, and you give me the hand. Okay, right, yeah.
So you on that rundown, you missed Soen, right? Now, early Soen I really enjoyed, but the newer stuff I'm not so keen on. So I'm hoping that live they might bring it back again. But some of the early stuff's pretty good. I really like the early vocals, but nowadays it's just really samey. So I'm gonna give it a try, but I'm not handing out too much hope.
Well, it's good of you to give it a try.
Thank you. I take it. It's not. It's not well regarded in other areas.
I don't know about you. We're not. It doesn't matter. I'm not going, but I'm not that.
Are we talking about other stages yet?
I want to give it. We have to mention Raised by Owls starting stage because that'll be a laugh. Yeah, I
think that'd be another good hangover one. Raised by Owls. But then there's also Warp Stomper on the Sunday as well, early doors on the EMP stage. Who are playing tonight to support Green Lung.
They are.
The Blondies.
They are. And they are also playing Radio City Social on the 7th of December with Goat Major, Wretched Soul, and of course The Grudge. So there you go. Hey. Get
Nice.
down, no fees.
I'll set them up, you knock them down.
Come and celebrate my birthday.
But all right, Sophie Lancaster stage.
We've gone over
Grove Street.
We've got all those big fucking names, but I think the golden nuggets on this lineup are on the smaller stages, without a shadow of a doubt. There's some fucking great stuff on the Sophie stage, the EMP stage, the New Blood stage. So Grove Street have got to be a big one. I think they've got another sort of big moment in them. I think.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. They give me similar like old school vibes, but some real talent in that band.
Yeah, very.
We also got on the same day we got Satyricon playing on the Sophie stage. Now I know this is the second time in a row I've brought up alternative bass players, but Frankie Bello has been playing for Satyricon. So I don't know if that extends to their UK dates or this UK tour, but that would be a lot of fun to go and see him with Frankie Bello, who's always a fantastic performer, one of the greatest, really. So watch this space. It'd be good to see him up there, gurning away like he does.
An odd one to come into a black metal band.
Yeah, I mean, like the Bermuda shorts don't really kind of suit the vibe, do they?
Not really, no. But then black metal's got its comedy side, so I wouldn't be surprised. Corpiclani, if you're on the piss on Saturday night, you've got to go see Corpiclani. You've got to. It's like Brothers of Metal, and the like. It's got songs called Happy Little Boozer and Beer. It's you
Saturday
and vodka, whatever.
Yeah,
as well.
I got into a lot of trouble drinking last year to Brothers of Metal. What was that song they played where they
Skål.
Yeah, Skål with the toast.
Yeah. We all got in trouble because that woman that was standing near us, who was clearly their biggest fan. we were taking the piss slightly, weren't we?
She didn't take kindly to that, did she?
She kept turning around to us and like, "Shut up! What are you doing? Why are you taking a piss?" She was foreign, and nothing wrong with that, obviously, but it was just like, "You're taking this too seriously, love."
Yeah. That reminds me of the time. There was once upon a time I got told off by a UFO fan. I was watching UFO at the Bulldog Bash, and I dared talk during their set, and this guy kept like giving me the death stare, like flicking around and giving me the death stare. And in the end, he was like, "Are you watching the band? Are you watching the band?" Anyway, it was fun. We had a bit of chat. We ended up hugging at the end of the set, like all was good. But there was a moment where I thought I've really upset a super fan here.
I mean, to be honest, those people who do that are cunts.
Do you remember Bean? Do you remember the time?
What talk? Or the death stare? What side of the fence am I on?
Talk, yeah.
Do you remember? I can't remember what band we were seeing, Bean, but it was at the Underworld. Russ was with us, and we didn't clap for somebody, and Crusher was standing next to us, and he got the right arm because we weren't applauding enough for the bands. Do you remember?
No, I do. Do you know when Crusher says clap, you clap?
Yeah.
Right. Do you know what, actually?
Droogies, boozers, strumpets, and losers.
You say that. I don't think I was there. I think I just remember that because you've told the story.
Oh, okay. I thought you were there. But Russ was definitely there. Because you know Russ is like, he got the right arm.
Yeah, but listen, talking at gigs, I don't mind. Like if it's a big noisy gig like UFO, talk away. But I get it if you're at you're at an acoustic thing or Not that anyone on this podcast would go to an acoustic gig. No, I'm joking, but you know, there is a certain etiquette I think that applies at a certain type of gig. Absolutely, but you know, this was the Bulldog Bash.
What about people singing at gigs? Sometimes I don't mind it. Sometimes I'm like, can you shut the fuck up, all in the band?
What, singing along?
Yeah, because I'm like, you could sing along at home to the CD, right? But we're here, and you're mangling it, and I want to hear the band. Can you shut the fuck up? So it's not every gig. It's not every gig. It's just a few gigs. I've noticed myself going, oh God, can you shut up?
I think if you can hear the people near you better than the band are too soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the band's fault.
I mean, if you're allowed to do it if it's Maiden, you know.
I was going to say Maiden, like it works for some bands, others maybe not. I don't know, but yeah, Maiden, it kind of relies on that.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Yeah, can you imagine going to a completely silent Maiden gig?
Yeah,
How weird would that be?
I bet it's like that in Japan.
You don't want that at a Mr. Bungle gig, obviously.
No. Can you imagine that, a Maiden gig? It's just him going, whoa, and everyone else in the audience just standing there going, and he's just doing it by himself. How would you feel? God,
fear of the.
Yeah.
What else have you got? Got Burner on the Friday.
Burner, yeah.
Death Collector.
Who you say?
Burner.
Friday.
Burner.
Darkest Era.
Darkest Era, definitely got to check out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Haxon.
Yeah.
I want to catch the first half of Wolf because they're a laugh.
Yeah, they're
pretty good.
They're a laugh just before Enslaved, so I'll give them a go. I want to check out the Vintage Caravan.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind checking out Vintage Caravan as well.
You know, checked them out recently, and you know, it's you know, classic chilled out rock, but just something pleasant, a bit Grateful Deady, a bit a bit accessible and
proggy classic rock.
Yeah, you know, again, I'm choosy with that stuff, but yeah, I liked it. So
I want on the Hopical Storm New Blood stage. Is a band called She Burns Red, and they're pretty cool. It's like it's a Scottish rock band, but it's pretty cool. It's got some pretty groovy riffs as well. So I'm quite looking forward to that. If there's time, fit them in.
The bands are on that stage. They're kind of potluck, aren't they? Because if they crash with the wrong band on the main stage, they're screwed. There's hardly anybody in there, but they can get lucky, and you can get a time where there's nothing else on, and then everyone piles in. And you know, it was a couple of times like that last year. And yeah, it's an odd one, that one. Down on those stages, you've got there's a few bands that I recognise from obviously sort of like the southeast and that have won these competitions, but the EMP stage has got a bit more to offer. Flamebearer.
Yes.
We always talk about Flamebearer.
Friends of the podcast.
Yeah.
Flamebearer, big favourite.
Whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
It's a big one for them. He's not no barrier in the world is going to keep him out of the crowd, is it?
No, absolutely not.
You know, so and also you can see Flamebearer in Chelmsford as well. There you go, on September the 14th with Dunes and the Grey. So there you go, two bands we've played Bloodstock before as well. 10
That's true. Yeah.
I'm gonna. They clash with Night Flight Orchestra, so I've got to maybe just step away early. But I'm curious about Dead Flesh on the New Blood stage on Sunday. Sorry.
If that's a kink you're into, you can do it.
Well, yeah.
I thought you were talking about the catering.
Yeah, no, this isn't Download. Yeah, now interestingly enough, they are apparently a deathcore band. But they struck me as more of a sort of black and deathy groove metal band, which probably is deathcore after all. But they just had a bit of accessibility to them, just a bit of a vibe, good vibe. Hertfordshire 5-piece. So yeah, I think I might check out the second half of their set at least, and support UK bands, etc.
That's what it's all about. Like I said before, it's a bit potluck with that stage, and if bands get lucky, then they can make an awful lot of new friends. You got Praetorian, who were supporting Flamebearer the night we saw the New Cross in, who thought were quite cool. So yeah, that's decent. Mike, you mentioned Warp Stormer, or Warp Stomper, as you call them.
Did I call them Warp Stomper? Goblin Smoker as well. They're also playing. They were at Desert Fest.
Yeah, they're interesting.
Of course, they were at Desert Fest with a name like that. And you've got Yersin as well.
I mean, they've only got time for 2 songs, haven't they?
Yeah. I tell you, I has very much piqued my interest, but I'm not sure about. But Mimi Barks. Have you listened to any of her stuff?
Not just yet.
Yeah, so it's like trap, but like metal trap, electronic, but absolutely fucking filthy music, and I'm quite excited. I think it'll be a good show. But what was that band we saw that made me cry? It was where the woman was singing.
Hang on, say again.
Skinned.
Yeah, is it Skinned?
Skinned, yeah.
Yeah. Like that properly moved me. I don't expect me. I had a moment.
Whiskey.
No, I had it was amazing. Like that I can't remember what the song was now, but it was about the one about the kids. But that blew me away. I'm expecting a similar stage presence from Mimi Barks, just more aggressive. I don't expect he moved quite as well as I was, but I think it's going to be an interesting set. It's like rap and trap and metal and shouting and aggressive and hate and anger.
I think I mean that style of set, it took us, that Skin set last year took us by surprise, because I think a couple of old curmudgeons like us walking into something that's very kind of current and
hip,
contemporary, we're
Z
standing there on our Anthrax t-shirts going drinking real ale and just being all grumpy, and actually it was this really impressive set, and I think our enthusiasm for that was an influence on like Tregenza. You went and saw her later in the year, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, went in the
just to kind of see for yourself. And so, I guess what I'm trying to say is, we might be grumpy old bastards, but every now and again we do get caught off guard by something that's contemporary, and hopefully we'll get a few surprises like that as well along the way.
It's also interesting. She's like mid build on the Sophie stage, because like she released an EP last year, I think it was, only on SoundCloud. The only place you could get it was on SoundCloud. It's an independent release, and yet here she is, late afternoon on the Sophie Lancaster stage. So we'll see. Hopefully, there's a bit of a crowd.
The thing about Skinned, none of us had ever heard of Skinned, and she was headlining the stage that night. It was Thursday night, wasn't it? It was the first night that year. So,
did she make you cry when you saw her, Steve?
No, I was sober, not like you.
Oh, probably had something to do with it, to be fair.
Right, look, we've gone over most of it. So I think from all of us, I want 3 bands from everybody that everybody must check out. I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit. There hasn't been any prior reminders or anything like that, of course. But 3 bands from you. So Uncle Mike, you can go first as the special guest.
Oh, thank you. All right. Are we talking like the 3 bands that I really want to see, or 3 bands that other people should check out?
It's a combination of both. Bands that you love.
Because I'm not going to say things like Clutch and Opeth, because I'm going to assume people have already checked that shit out, right? So I'm going to go with Tail Gunner, if you haven't already checked out Tail Gunner. I'm also going to go with Eternal Champion. It's a bit of the theme here, isn't it? It's kind of 80s thrash stuff coming out. But I am also going to say Mimi Barks as well. I think it's going to be an exciting thing for people to check out. Yeah.
Holy Man.
Hatebreed, Malevolence, and Green Lung, because it's Hatebreed, and then Malevolence. They're kind of like that would be a nice juxtaposition between old school hardcore, new wave stuff, and then Green Lung, just because they're good.
Green Lung are probably playing right now,
right
this minute.
Please don't remind me.
Which is where Mike should be.
Yeah, I sacked off Green Lung to do this.
Did you sell the tickets?
No.
Really?
No, I didn't. They didn't sell. So to tell the story. So this morning, the Dice app popped up and said, "Hey, those Green Lung tickets you're on the wait list for, they're available." I was like, great, buy them. And I looked at it and I was like, oh fuck, it's tonight. I didn't know it was tonight. And so then I couldn't go. It's fine.
But see, the
It's
thing
fine.
is, I think after we all established that none of us were going to go, you put them back up online, and then both Tregenza and I got a ping on the app to say there were some available for sale.
Were you the only two people in the wait list?
Oh, is this the secret show or the small show or
The one
Yes, the one at Blondie's.
Yeah. So in what, which is significant actually, because like in the week that Green Lung have announced the biggest headlining shows that they've ever done, they're playing, you know, gone right back to their roots and are playing in a tiny venue. What's it, 50 cap, if that?
It's in the brewery, isn't it? It's a bit bigger.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
In the bar, it's in the brewery, so it's a bigger space, but it's still a small space. So
Right. Yes, we talked about that before because I was I got confused. I still haven't got used to the fact that there's a bigger venue now.
Well, confused.
I have to resign myself to the fact that at least it's a sold out show and they will get the money, even if I don't get to go. And this will push them further into greatness.
Yeah, your 44 quid has made all the difference.
Yeah.
Drummer Man, your three.
I want to see. So, Rotting Christ are ones that I definitely want to check out. I think their latest album is one that's had a big impact on us on the podcast, and we've been talking about it a lot amongst ourselves. And I think that's going to come over really well live. Also, for me, Eternal Champion are ones that I want to check out. I just think you can't have enough chainmail and
boobs on the album cover.
Yeah, you know, so all of that combined, they got such an epic sound. You know, it's like this is fist in the air metal, and I think a festival like Bloodstock, you know, seeing however many tens of thousands of people just pumping their fists in the air to a band like Eternal Champion, I think is going to be a real treat. And then the third one, for me, it's just about paying my respects to some legends. So I'll bring it up again and mention Deicide. I just want to go and just watch them lay it down pretty thick and heavy.
I want to see you all put crucifixes on your foreheads before you go and see Deicide.
Does anyone remember that story from back in the 90s where Glenn Benton vowed he was going to top himself when he got to 30? He said he said he would never, he wasn't going to live beyond 30, and if he reached that milestone, he was going to remove himself from this mortal coil or something like that.
Well, the joke is he probably did kill himself, and we've just been watching a zombie for years.
That probably explains the decline in the album quality as well.
Oh, can we have, like, if people do know or people see Bean at Bloodstock, what I want you to do is turn around to your friend next to you and go, "Oh, that's the fucking cunt with Castle Grayskull." Yeah. Like, I mean, I need to clarify. I don't know if you actually listened to last week's episode, Bean, but I haven't
listened to the episode, but I've just heard all the quips and anecdotes that have kind of followed on from it.
Well, you need to go back and listen to it because I need answers. I need answers. So, firstly, you had Castle Grayskull. What else did you have? You had the Millennium Falcon, didn't you?
No, I didn't have I didn't have the Millennium Falcon. I did have like an extension.
Don't fucking lie to me.
It's true. It's true. I with Castle Grayskull though, I did have an extension which clipped onto the top and had like a little perch, and I can't remember what it was called, but He-Man used to fly about in some spaceship type thing that looked like an eagle. I don't think it was ever in the cartoons, but they made this for the toys.
This is exactly what I was talking about last week. Born with a fucking silver spoon in his mouth.
Not
you know, the moon on a stick.
Man. Not even close. I was just lucky.
Like, you know, it's like
a lucky Christmas present.
You know, when Bean was a kid, you know, the Jehovah's Witnesses never bothered with him because they had to walk 2 miles from the front gate to get to the front door. You know, it's just the Bean estate.
If only you knew the truth. But that does remind me of, so there was this family that like my mum and dad had these friends, and we occasionally would be taken over to their house. I'll try and keep this brief because it's Bloodstock episode, isn't it? But this kid, he, you know, we'd all play together, and you know, he'd check out what toys he had, and etc. But he had this cupboard that kind of had this door that he'd pull back, and I swear he had every single Star Wars toy that had ever been made, whole collection of it, everything, the spaceships, all the characters, everything.
Stop speaking euphemistically. All right, it's not my friend. I had a friend. You're talking about yourself.
I'm not. But
Just
this is the thing.
it,
This is the killer, right? This is the killer. He told me. So there I am in his bedroom, and he's showing me all this Star Wars stuff. And he said to me, "When you're 9, you can have all this." And I believed him, right? And for years, I was expecting this truck to turn up at my house. It was like I'd passed the 9-year-old threshold. And did I ever get those fucking Star Wars toys? No.
Remember his name?
I don't. If I thought about it enough, I could, but I've squashed him to the back of my mind because it didn't come through on his promise. But anyway, enough about toys because you've done all that. But I promise you, the Castle Grayskull for me was just a lucky Christmas.
What was your reason?
Yeah, Unleash the Archers because I think it'll be great fun Saturday afternoon set. Crypta because I think that would be a great Saturday morning set.
Saturday morning set, yeah.
Well, Saturday lunchtime set, and Wolf because I think that would just be a great set.
They played.
Disappointed that Bloodstock didn't try and book me for Sunday morning.
They can't afford you.
Like I really wanted to do Padre Sunday service in the morning on Sunday, but they wouldn't. They wouldn't let me.
I just hope they have better DJs this year.
Yeah, that's a fair point. 2022, it was great. The after hours DJing last year, yeah, let down. It was like getting a semi on, and then it just all went to shit after that. It's really disappointing. So
it's the worst analogy I've ever heard.
They struggle with.
It's like getting a semi with shit on.
Well, whatever you're into.
Well, I was quite disappointed to find out, and this is not about Bloodstock necessarily, but so Glastonbury had, I can't remember their name, but they had a female Arabic metal band play, and I'm just like, someone needed to speak to that band and go, what are you doing playing Glastonbury? You need to play Bloodstock. And Bloodstock have let us down, or the metal community have let itself down here. They should be booking those kind of bands, not those hippies up at Glastonbury. A metal band has no place playing at that festival because it's like, completely over their heads, and all it is to push some kind of progressive, socially liberal agenda so they can slap themselves on the back and go, oh, look, see, we had an Arabian female band play for a metal band and they played in burqas and everything. No, I don't care about that. Okay, that's tokenistic. I want to just put them on the main stage on Bloodstock and just see a pit, All
right, point made. Before we lose Uncle Mike, so I'm not going, but there's 3 bands everybody must see. If you are listening to this, check out Moon Reaper on the Sophie stage on Sunday. Just dropped an absolute fucking banger of an EP called Black Sun Sorcery. It's a mixed black metal, death metal, doom, and even hardcore. Absolutely fucking ferocious band. Check them out. Flamebearer, obviously. If Flamebearer is somewhere near you, you must go and see them. And Grove Street, we briefly touched on them, but they would have been one of the big pulls for me. I think they're gonna have a big one.
Grove Street were one of my albums of the year last year, so definitely go to see them.
Yeah, great stuff.
Great band. Just quickly before we lose my weather, I think you're all looking good on you.
Yeah, apart from the Monday, which looks like it's going to be pissing.
It's not looking like a terrible weekend. Put it this way.
Yeah, so
we'll get the odd shower. Obviously, we always do, but largely we're looking all right. So not too hot.
Oh no! According to AccuWeather, it's going to be dry all weekend now. So
there you go.
Happy days.
Now, just before I want to just talk about something really, really, really fucking special that's happening this year, which we haven't mentioned yet. And there's there's a connection to certainly Mike and I's own metal history and metal journey. But this is really fucking cool. So you probably, anyone that's been following Bloodstock on their socials will know that this year Lemmy's Ashes are going to be on site. So they've posted up to say that they've received the I think they're setting the bullets. Like there's a few people around the world that have been gifted these bullets that contain some of Lemmy's ashes. So this year at Bloodstock, they've brought, you know, Lemmy's ashes to the site, and they're going to be paying their respects. Now these are going to be displayed in a bust of Lemmy. So there's a statue being made, and it's gonna house these ashes, which I think is intended to end up at Nottingham Rock City. I think that's going to be its permanent location. I might have got that wrong, but I think it's Nottingham Rock City. But anyway, I wanted to give a shout out to a man that I've known for years, a guy called Alan Williams. And he's a guy, Mike and I went to school with Alan, and he was very much part of us getting into metal. We'd all share albums, we'd all listen to music together. You know, bands like Faith No More, Love Hate, all of these bands I listened to in Alan's little kind of, you know, his family home in his bedroom. Anyway, Alan is the artist who has made this bust of Lemmy. So he's an incredible artist. What he does is he takes bits of scrap metal, car parts, cutlery, gears, any old bit of scrap, and he turns it into the most incredibly beautiful sculptures. He does dragons, phoenix. He made a rhinoceros out of a skip years ago. And he's been tasked with making the statue of Lemmy that's going to house his ashes. And it's such a beautiful thing, and I just want to give him a shout out and just let him know that I'm really proud of him, and you know, we love him and we've got a long history and we think what he's doing is fantastic. So to have him be a part of this, he's going to be there at Bloodstock as well. He's coming along, guest of honor, obviously, for what he's done for this particular part of the festival. So we're really excited, we're really proud, and I just wanted to say so on the podcast. So fucking A, raise a glass, drink to that.
Yeah, you drink your 0.3%. I'll drink my Aldi cider.
I need to,
it's what Lemmy would have wanted.
Sorry.
Right. Lastly, then, every year they announce a load of 2020, a load of the next year's bands. So 2025's apparently all three main stage headliners and all the Sophie stage headliners are all being announced on the Friday after Clutch. So quick one, predictions. Who's it going to be? Who do you think is going to be in the mix?
Difficult. I found my thoughts wandering towards Anthrax because they're due a new album. So I think between now and next Bloodstock, we'll probably get new music from Anthrax.
Should have played last year.
And they did Brixton Academy was the last time I saw them, and that was a headline show. You know, they pulled out all the stops, so I think they could do it, but I don't know.
I'm struggling. I really am, to be honest. I always do this, though. Yeah, I'm just trying to think who's released a big album this year so far. That
I smell a Machine Head headline slot. I think.
Oh, please don't.
I think it'll happen.
Oh,
Machine Head and Sleep Token are a band that I think.
I mean, I would be quite pleased to see, like, you know, on the main stage halfway up or just under the headliner's Testament.
They played 2 years ago, and
they played 2 years ago, but they've got an album out in the next sort of 6 to 8 months, so that is possible.
Will King Diamond, Merciful Fate come back? We expect
King Diamond is possibly a good shout because he just announced a US tour.
Yeah,
King Diamond, so that's possible. It needs one of those legendary bands. Alice Cooper might be a shout.
Yeah,
come out earlier this year.
Gojira.
Gojira, that's a good shout. Yeah.
They've headlined it before, haven't they? So
right. Have they?
Oh. Yeah, 2014, I think.
Yeah. But you know, there's a long history of bands coming back to the festival.
Yeah.
So
this is an interesting point, because if you think about it, like going back when we've had this conversation before, when we've talked about like who takes over the headline slots at the big festivals. Now, obviously, we've always said, well, Bloodstock is different. So when you talk about, if you were to have this conversation about Reading or Download or something like that, you can pretty much quite comfortably predict at least one of the three headline acts. You definitely see it's going to be Maiden or Metallica or something like that. Yeah. But what I like about Bloodstock is because the level of the bands that they're attracting, it's a much wider field. So it's much more difficult to confidently predict. You can predict as well, speculate by all means, but Like we've already come up with 6 names here that could possibly headline, whereas you couldn't do that for Download because you've got a much smaller pool of bands that could headline those festivals, or that the promoters would be willing to take risks on.
Yeah, that's a really
as
good
well. That's the other thing.
I would have put money on it being Pantera if they hadn't announced arena shows.
I'm gonna suggest a curveball. It might be a bit big for them, but I wonder if now's the time. They just released a cracking new song, Arch Enemy.
They could play, yeah. I would say sort of sub-headliner kind of status, wouldn't they? Headliner, I don't know, probably not big enough, are they?
It might be a bit of a leap, but it's just how long they've been around for. And
it's one of those sets that could take on a bit of a kill switch engage sort of.
Yeah,
I didn't expect them to be able to put across a headlining show, but they did.
Well, if they get rid of the extradition treaty between the US and the UK, maybe Iced Earth.
No, definitely not.
No, they keep putting his conviction thingy off time sentencing.
Back September now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I saw the Bloodstock and they were fucking great. So.
What about? I think we're due a new album next year. Apparently, Mastodon.
Yeah, that's a good. I think that's a good one. Again,
I'd like to see Fugitive play. I'd like to see Fugitive play, and I'd like to see.
Yeah.
See, Fugitive, that's an interesting one because you could feasibly have Power Trip, which is, Power Trip with the Fugitive vocalist. So that's.
I feel like the next 12 months, maybe Power Trip, but you were going to see that grow some legs. It's they've put the feelers out. They've done some shows. It seems to be a going concern now. So I guess all that's left is for them to get out and tour around the world. And I reckon festivals will be queuing up to have Power Trip on the.
Absolutely, yeah. If they do,
Lost Profit, not Lost Profits. What they called? What did I say? Lost Profits for? Fucking hell! I don't know. Oh man, it's got a bad taste in my mouth. Lowest Creature. Sorry, they need to be there. Tail Gunner again, but higher up the bill.
I think we'll see Tail Gunner soon back on Bloodstock. I think they're going to do a Green Lung. They're going to just, they'll be on the main stage.
Witch Hazel as well.
Witch Hazel played last year.
We'd like that.
To see them back again. It is really, like you said, because there is such a big pool they can pull from. It's a good point. That it's very hard to predict.
Burn on the main stage as well should happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if.
We'll just do Bloodstock 2022 again next year, 2023 rather. So there you go.
But we'll see. Make sure you if you get signal, then send me messages as and when it's being announced and tell me what it is, so so I know, and I'll throw it out on social media. But yeah, I think that's about it. Have a wicked time, as I'm sure you won't without me, obviously.
No, it's impossible.
It'll be sad until the band start playing.
Yeah, and then you'll forget I even existed. So yeah. But hope everyone has a wicked time. Everyone who goes. It's another cracking lineup, so there's no reason why it wouldn't be. And it's always a great laugh anyway, isn't it? So
remember to stay hydrated.
And we will, this time we will be around. I mean, I'll have the t-shirt on one of the days. I'm sure Dean will.
Take some merch with you and sell it.
You haven't got it to hand. Don't worry
about that. I don't know be frowned upon somehow, but I can't. We're not able to carry any, and it's print on demand anyway. So
they can be approached. They generally don't bite. Bean will be on a lead anyway, so be able to keep them under control. You will be kept safe.
And we've made sure Bean's had all his vaccinations, so he's not contagious.
I will be a danger to no one. Come and say hello.
Yeah, absolutely. Do it. And spread the word while we're at it. Right, gents, have a good one. And we will see everybody back here in a couple of weeks for the review episode. And hopefully you have recovered and you haven't come back with some kind of horrendous disease. And then we'll see how it all went. I'm sure you'll have a good one. Until then, thanks for listening and stay metal. Yeah.